this is a $300 action camera, and this is a $60 action camera. Now, what camera is the better buy? Should you go with the cheaper alternative like this, or is it worth spending the extra money? That's exactly what we're gonna find out today. Now, I've been using these DJI Osmo Action 5 Pros for the past year. I've been very happy with the quality of these cameras. Now, there is only one issue with these cameras, and that is the fact that one of these little cameras costs $350. Now, that's what led me to think, is there a cheaper alternative out there? That's where the Icebox Action camera comes in. Now, there is a big price difference between both these cameras. Now, with that price difference, are we also gonna lose some quality? Now, let's start out the specs with camera sensor size. So, sensor size has a huge impact on the low light performance and overall image quality. For example, most DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, have much bigger sensors than the action cameras, and that is kind of what gives it that nice crisp look, on top of the fact that nicer cameras typically have interchangeable lenses, which you don't get on a GoPro. So you know when you're watching a video and you can just tell it was shot in an action camera, that is mainly due to the fixed lens and the smaller sensor. So it's not a huge deal to me, but definitely something to note and consider, especially if you plan on doing lots of nighttime riding. Definitely want the better low light performance.
All right, as you can see, I got both cameras mounted side by side. Real quick, let's ride around and let's see how this image quality actually compares. So the main benefit to this camera, again, is price point. You're paying way less. So say instead of this front-facing camera, instead of buying another DJI, I could easily go and buy one of these for 60 bucks, and I got a cheap front-facing camera rather than spending $600 on two separate action cameras. Overall, I'm really excited to see how the image quality compares. Having a cheaper option would be very nice, especially when I'm running sketchier setups where I'm like, you know what, my action might not make it. I don't want to risk a $300 camera. Well, here you go. You got a $60 camera that should have good image quality. Another thing I'm very curious about is how does the auto exposure look? Because with some cameras, especially cheaper ones, it will automatically adjust the color temperature and exposure, and it doesn't do it very quick. So I'm curious to see what it looks like going in and out of these dark woods right here. If it's adjusting quick, if the color temperature looks accurate. I'm just super excited to see how these two cameras compare.
All right, so real quickly, let's go over the user interface of these cameras. All right, so starting with this DJI Osmo Action 5, you got the lens right here, you got a nice front-facing display. Flip it up, the top you have your record button. Then over here we got our power button. Now there is a cover that comes with this camera, but I took it off because I use a mic adapter so you can clearly hear my voice in my helmet. Now on this Icebox Action, you do have your lens, front-facing display as well. On the top you got a nice tally light to tell you when you're recording, and then your power button that also doubles as a record button. Flip it over and we got two different selectors to scroll through your menu. Now on the other side we do have a USB Type-C port, SD card slot. Now this Type-C port can double as an accessory port. If you buy a mic adapter, you can plug in a mic and get crisp audio straight into the camera. So another very important thing when picking out your action camera is going to be battery life. Now, in the past, I've used a lot of GoPro products, and most of the time they only last 1 to 2 hours, which tends to not be enough most of the time. I have to bring multiple batteries with me whenever I'm doing MotoVlogs or anything that's gonna take over an hour. So it is kind of a hassle switching out those batteries. However, the DJI that we're comparing this camera to has a battery life of up to 4 hours, and I found that to be very accurate with my experience. I never find myself changing out the battery on that camera. Now, on the other hand, this Icebox Action camera also claims to have a 4-hour battery life. So both of these cameras have plenty of battery life to get your typical tasks done. All right, another thing to consider when looking at either of these action cameras is going to be the field of view. You wanna make sure you get your whole bike in the shot, you get what's in front of you, get some of the nice sky in the background, everything. So the DJI Osmo Action 5 comes with a 155-degree field of view, where on the other hand, the Icebox comes with a 170-degree field of view. Now, when I was playing back both these clips throughout my use with both these cameras, I was noticing that the DJI, for whatever reason, is just a little bit wider. And that could be due to the fact that maybe there's a 24mm lens on the DJI, where there's a 28 on the Icebox, causing it to be just a hair tighter. It could be something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but it's not that big of a difference. Just thought I would note it. All right, now as far as customization goes for both of these cameras, different frame rates, different features, all that, DJI has the clear lead in this. They have the option to record 8 or 10-bit color. You can sync up their wireless mics, which I use all the time. Super nice feature to have. So the one thing I was disappointed with the Icebox was the fact that it only had 4K 60 and 4K 30. Now I'll record all my MotoVlogs in 24 frames per second, just because that is the technical frame rate to do. It doesn't really matter that much. Like right now, this video is recorded in 24 frames per second. Most of my videos are 24 frames per second unless I'm going for slow motion. So it does not have 24 frames per second. Not a huge deal. 30 is pretty close. It does look a little different, but it would be nice to have that. Now, other than that, for the most part, all the auto settings on both these cameras are plenty good enough. I did find the DJI was a little bit quicker to adjust to different exposures and color temperatures, but overall they were pretty close. Now, which one of these cameras would I buy? And honestly, I think both these cameras have their own use cases. Say you just spent all your money on a bike, you just bought all your riding gear, but you're still looking for a affordable way to capture your MotoVlogs and all your adventures, then I think this camera is the better buy. It's a fifth of the cost of the Action, and it still has great quality for the price point. Now, on the other hand, say you're somebody who plans on using this for work, or it's your full-time job, YouTube, social media posting, all that stuff, then I think this is a better buy. You got a lot more customizable options, 8-bit color, 10-bit color, you got internal storage if you forget your memory cards, a lot of great features, but then again, 5 times more expensive than the Osmo Action camera. So I think you can't really go wrong with either of these cameras. You just gotta ask yourself, how am I gonna use this camera? What am I gonna use it for? And how often am I gonna use it? Now, again, I don't think you can go wrong with either of these. You just gotta ask yourself those questions to determine the answer.